Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are well. Now currently on TikTok there's a whole trend going down for controversial theatre opinions. Now I do occasionally frequent TikTok and I do have my own, however I don't tend to put my face on there, and it's mainly just where I make little vlogs to show you, or to show shows I've seen. So I thought, you know what, let's make one for here, and then also that means I get to ramble on a little bit more. So if you want to know my controversial theatre opinions, stick around and we'll get into it in 2 whole seconds. Now you may have noticed I did go for air quotes. Are most of mine controversial? Probably not, but they are opinions I have, and yeah, let's do it. Let's just get into it. So firstly, when the lights go down, voices go off. Okay, that also goes for drinks, snacks, phones. I mean, if you're paying up to and above like 50, 60, 70, 100 pounds for a ticket, and then you go and people are on their phones or they're talking to the people next to them, not even like whispering, talking to the people next to them, singing along if they know the songs. I feel like since COVID, the whole theatre etiquette-ness that we once had has kind of gone. One of my last experiences in a theatre was Hello Dolly, and for the most part people were very well behaved. Everyone was like, we're in the Palladium, let's be chill, let's do the right thing. But still being on your phone when the overture is going on, or the untracked in the second half, the lights have gone down, you need to be quiet. It's simple as. I say this with all my heart, especially like, no, don't talk, don't sing, breathe. But people have paid a lot of money and they're not to hid door behind talking or squawking or singing. Just shh, okay? Second opinion we have is that people need to be more mindful about swings and understudies. Now, I have said this many times in videos in the past. I think swings, understudies and ensembles are the pivotal point and the pivotal people in shows. I always like trying to shout out people who, when I see a show, if I know that there is cover on, I will make it my mission to talk about them when I do my little chats about shows, because that is my experience. But it was also just like preaching how great those people are. Understudies and covers and swings are amazing human beings for the fact that they, if they are in the ensemble, they know that track, but they also know multiple others and can go on for any of the people that they cover at a drop of a hat, which is an insane thing because I can't even remember what I had for breakfast this morning. And the fact that some people go into a show, they see the cast board, they see the role that's normally played by such and such is being played by this person, and they're like, ugh. For me, the thing that always sticks in my brain is many moons ago I went to see Annie at the Piccadilly Theatre. It starred, or its big name if you will, was Miranda Hart. We sat in our seats. The show was supposed to start at 2:30. 2:30 came, 2:30 went. Now we all know shows don't start at 2:30 or at 7:30 anymore. They just start at like 2:32 or 7:32 or, you know, a few minutes late. But 2:30 came, 2:30 left. 2:25 came, 2:25 left. And then someone from stage management came onto the stage. Their microphone took a couple of seconds to click in, and they came over and was like, ladies and gentlemen, due to the indisposition of Miss Miranda Hart, the role will be played by, and they said the cover. At this point, people literally stood up and left. That infuriated me so much, and it's stuck with me to this day, because you aren't just paying for this one person, you are paying for the show, and sometimes even the person that is covering could be better. When people are, when shows are putting these big name celebrities in, they might be someone you know, but they might not be the best person for the job. Just saying. Also related to that, and before we get into the next opinion, I do feel like if you're going to put on your cast board the people or the swings on in this performance will be, I also think that you should say what their kind of track is. So if they are taking on an ensemble role that has a name, tell me, because there are so many times I've seen a cast board and it's saying these swings are on in this performance, and I look through my program and I can't work out who was on for what role, and if that swing has done a fantastic job, I want to shout that out too. 3, simply, I think that we should be able to bring back paper tickets. I don't mind if it's not for everybody, but for someone who collects things, I miss the joy of a paper ticket. I also enjoyed that I used to be able to take a picture of my ticket, which made for useful Instagram/seat plan sharing. But also when it comes to talking about my experience in my other videos, I then have to scroll through millions of emails to find my seat email to tell me where I sat. Again, not for everyone, but I feel like if you should have the chance to request one. Another one, which is probably a just me situation, but I feel like all shows should have pin badges. I don't mind what shape or form they're in. They can be enamel pins, they can be little badges, but every show should have one, because I have a collection and there are so many shows that just don't consider that when it's in the merch. And I feel like there's quite a few people out there who are also pin collectors and badge collectors. Related to that also, I kind of feel like I should say everyone should just do one badge or one pin, because shows are starting to do multiples and I see their plan, but at the same time it makes it tricky to collect. Now, I haven't been to these two shows in a while, but Six used to be notorious for having too many badges. I think they have changed now and they just have the costumes, but I could be wrong. But when I last saw Six, there was a badge for each queen, and then they had the purple Six badge. That is a lot of badges and a lot of money. Same with Moulin Rouge, they used to have a choice of 4. Again, I haven't been in a while, so it may have changed, but just one badge or a pin and make them reasonably like priced. Just asking. Next one on my list, which is technically number 5 if we're still counting, is I believe that all shows should have sensory warning list available, whether it be on a QR code or just somewhere to be accessed by all. I obviously have started making videos where I try and warn people on certain shows, because yes, you can walk into shows and if they think there is something like haze, or they say a gunshot, or you know, the normal ones they're warning, flashing lights, etc. However, if we could take that maybe one step further, and if there is going to be a gunshot in the show, or there's going to be a visible gun, if we can be able to have a way of knowing when they are coming, then that would be amazing. For example, I'm exempling again, I know, but one that springs to mind for me is when I went to see The Time Traveller's Wife. They warned on entrance about, I think, haze, flashing lights, illusions, and then they put a gunshot. Now, I didn't know anything about the show going in, and therefore for the whole of Act 1 and Act 2 I sat kind of on tenterhooks because I didn't have a clue when the gun was going to go off. And if instead I had the chance to know it was going to come towards the end of Act 2 in like the last 10 minutes, even if you warned that much, that would be so much more useful to me. I also think that shows on the whole should just be more accessible, full stop. But for me personally, I would love a bit more sensory-esque warnings, because I don't feel like there's enough. Number 6 is that I think that TodayTix Rush could be done better. Why do I say this? Because the amount of times I have been heading down to a show, I'm heading down to London, I am sat on the train, it gets to 9:59, I'm literally there, poised with my phone in my hand, clicking it incessantly, making sure that the battery or the light doesn't go off and it locks itself. It turns 10, I click pick tickets and they've already gone. I literally don't know how someone can get in that quickly. It's just insane. And I'm aware I'm in the, probably going to see that show, I'm in the minority of being not from or in London for a purpose, and that I'm just heading down from the Midlands, sat on a train. But the amount of times I have missed out on TodayTix Rush because I literally am there at 10:01 and 10 and 10 seconds. I don't get how people can be that fast. It is insane. I feel like it needs to be on like a number system. For example, when you go in, I don't know how to make it better, but I just hate the way that it is done. The amount of anxiety I have sat at 9:59 on TodayTix over the years is insane. It's crazy, and I just think there must be a different and a better way than the one we have. I like ideas on a postcard because I don't know how it would be best done, but yeah. 7th on my list is that Mischief's best show is not the show that's currently on in the West End. There, I said it. Now, again, I haven't been to see Play That Goes Wrong for a while, and I'm well aware that it's currently celebrating its 10th year in London. Or ever, I think in London. However, for me, Play That Goes Wrong is a great show, but it isn't Mischief's best show. The other ones to me are better because they have plots behind them. And when I say the other shows, I'm thinking Comedy About a Bank Robbery, Grown Ups, even to a point Peter Pan Goes Wrong. Personally, I prefer less goes wrong shows. I like slapstick, I like comedy, I love mischief, but I feel like we need a teeny break from the goes wrong stuff and more on just really funny plays. Comedy About a Bank Robbery for me is the best of both worlds because it had that slapstick, that silliness, but it also had a great show with a really good plot, and it was just fun to watch. I really wish at some point they'd bring it back because I would love to see it back in the West End, even for a short period of time. But yeah, I will have to go back to see Play That Goes Wrong, but for me it's not my fave. Okay, like I said, my opinions could that be my most controversial? I don't know. I've been rambling, I know. This is why we didn't do this on TikTok. I've got 3 left. Next up I have that we need more original shows. For example, and this kind of comes through recent times, can we stop making films, especially 90s and 2000s films, into musicals? I mean, recently we've had Mean Girls, we have had the announcement of Clueless, we've even had Time Traveller's Wife. I feel like, I mean, yes, we all know the story that we're getting into, or in some places we don't. For example, me and Time Traveller's Wife. But I feel like you can't fully sell a show on just knowing the film before you go. Just, for example, just scrolling through Todaytix, we have got Lion King was a film, Mrs. Doubtfire was a film, Mean Girls film, Back to the Future film, Matilda film, Rocky Horror Show I think was a play first, but we're going to scrap that one. Moulin Rouge, a film. You get my drift. Mamma Mia, I think came after, but again, there is so many out there that were films first, and it's just getting a little bit more, it's just getting a bit crazy. It makes me a little bit sad in a way that people are more likely to go and see those because they know what's going on than the likes of Kathy and Stella, which was an absolutely brilliant show, because they don't know anything about it. Next one I should be able to get through quite quickly, hopefully, and then we'll get into my big finale. I believe that all programs should be of a similar size and a similar price. I am a collector of musical programs, actually theatre programs in full. If I go and see a show and they have a program, it will be bought. However, the pricing variance of such programs are insane. You can get anything from a £2/4 program all the way up to this massive book that costs you £12–15 and is predominantly just full of pictures. I would just want to know who's been in my show, maybe a couple of pictures, maybe an interview or some backstage knowledge on the set design or the costume design. Feel free to tell me a little bit about that. Give them maybe a page each with a few pictures and maybe some little bits of words about the design from the designer's point of view. I'd love that. I'd love to know, like, get into the back of their heads. And then you've got these massive programmes which are weighty. Again, I'm going to go back to Hello Dolly. That programme was a beast. It's so big. It's full of pictures. And just like the price of it was gut-wrenching. And for the most part, when it comes to programmes, apart from if you want to look back at somebody's what they've been in previously, or if you see them, you don't use them that much. I have a box down here that has got some from previous years. My current year's programmes are somewhere over there. I don't really look at them. I buy them every time. And the amount of money that I fear that I've spent on programmes is insane. Give me a small A5 size little booklet, tell me who's in the show, maybe a bit of information, charge me about £4, maybe £5. I'd be a happy gal. It's not too much to ask. And it wouldn't mean that I'd have to bring a reusable carrier bag everywhere with me because it doesn't fit in my tiny bag, you know? And finally, number 10. And this is not controversial, it's just my true belief. Well, maybe it is controversial, I don't know. I don't know how many of these have been, but I'm very passionate on the subjects that I've picked. And the last one I have is this. When a person who has already got their name in big letters on posters and on programmes, even if their face is slap bang on the front of the programme, the moment they first step on that stage, before they've even opened their mouth, they do not need applause. The amount of times that you go and see a show that's got a big name, whether they be a big theatre name, a big celebrity name, and the moment they step on the stage, the crowd cheer, whoop, everything. They've not said anything, they've literally stepped on the stage, maybe they've got out a hello, and you've just got everyone going, whoa! Let them settle. They've literally stepped on stage, like, well done, you are a fan. But just, I don't get why people feel the need to cheer as soon as they go on. Like, if you walked into your job, took your coat off, put it where it needs to go, sat on your seat, and then everyone around you was like, woo! You'd look at them funny, surely. I kind of feel the people who get that kind of reaction, no, they're quite good, or no, they're quite famous. They don't need you telling them that. And it kind of breaks away from what's going down. I've had experiences where you have massive stars and both things have happened. For example, I'm going to go back to it, Hello Dolly. People did right that day because Imelda Staunton walked on that stage. Everyone was like, that's Imelda Staunton, well done. We love it. We're sitting, we're ready, sing your song. Nobody did anything, nobody, like, everyone applauded at the end, standing ovation, well deserved, but they did it when it was right to do so. Going the other way, I went to see, I think it was Anything Goes. It had Kerry Ellis as Reno. She stepped on that stage and the audience erupted. I, like many, am a massive fan of Kerry Ellis, but at the same time I want to listen to her voice and see her do the entire show, and then I will give the screaming, shouting respectfully that I feel her performance deserved. I just don't get why people scream, shout, do everything just the appearance of someone. I mean, the same can be said with all these concerts of shows. Something rotten. Jason Manford literally had to step on the stage and everyone was cheering and whooping. It gets my goat every time. And I just, everyone around is like, yay! And there's me just like, I'm ready. Sing at me. Or perform for me. Do what you are doing. Okay, I know I've just been like talking in a different outfit, but we have one more controversial opinion. And that is this. There should be something in place that after a certain, there should be like a cut-off for when you cannot be let into the show because it's getting insane. I, over the last 2 days, have seen 2 shows in 2 different venues in 2 different cities, and both times people have come in late. I don't mind like a little bit late, and I don't mind if you come in with like being like very demure, very cutesy, you know? But the ones who stomp their way in behind the ushers with like 15 minutes in, why? I feel like there should be a cut-off. If you're more than 5 minutes late, you should sit in a room with a TV screen with like a view of the stage, and that should be your view for like the entire act. There, I said it, because it just bugs me when people come in late. It bugs me when people come in with like 1 minute before curtain is supposed to go up. One of the shows I saw recently, the curtain didn't go up for an extra like 3 minutes after past, and people were still traipsing in from the bar area at that point. I'm like, they give you enough warning. There is announcements everywhere saying the show is about to start, go to your seats. If you're not listening to that, then you are not being respectful of the cast and crew and everyone involved in the theatre and your fellow theatre people. Just, we need to get the etiquette back. Right, I'm gonna let myself finish this video, but I just had to add that in because it's bugged me over the last 2 days. Right, I think I need to go and sit down in a dark room for a bit, but I feel happy that I've got them out there. Are they controversial opinions? Probably not. They are my opinions. It's how I feel. You feel free to disagree. If you want to disagree, do it in the comments. Do it politely, please. Or feel free to share your own. But there we go. I'm gonna go and have a lie down now because I've got very animated. So all that's left to say is the usual. Thank you for coming back to my channel. Normal service will resume. All that's left to say is the usual, and that is so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen.